Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. It's patterns time. Yay. So if you've been watching the last couple of videos, or even the last like 10 days or so, for some reason, a lot of companies are now kind of saying the exact same thing. This is actually a good thing. Because historically, we've had in the cryptocurrency space a lot of times, especially if it comes to price predictions, where prices are going, how high things will go during a bull run. They're always quite askewed, and never actually a lot of them tend to not make any sense. So we will hear anything in the range from Bitcoin's going to $3,000 to Bitcoin's going to 79 million bajillion dollars over the course of a certain time frame. And it usually is after the halving over the course of the next year. That would be 2024 halving, 2025 crazy mega ultra awesome bull run kind of thing. The interesting part is that when I said that they're all kind of correlating or kind of getting to the same numbers, and why this is a good thing, it's because it's showing that according to all the different charts and the different signs and the different analytics that they all have, they're all coming to the exact same conclusion. This would be weird or kind of a lot more to deal with if we constantly heard that Bitcoin's going to 10K or Bitcoin's going to 1.9 million. No one knows exactly where to really land. So this gives us a relatively good indication as to where prices are going to be going, especially as anything that we had a couple of months ago has kind of like filed down by all these companies, institutions, and also just famous people within the cryptocurrency space as to where they think prices are going to go. There's a company, it says very fancy, British multinational bank. They're called Standard Chartered. They've actually readjusted their Bitcoin price prediction over the course of this year and over the course of next year to nearly exactly where every other company has said as well. The last couple of videos, maybe the beginning of this year, the price predictions before the ETFs was that Bitcoin could maybe, if it was lucky, hit $55,000 by the end of 2024. We've breezed on past that. So a lot of companies didn't change that to 75,000. We were like a smidge away. It was 73,400 or something like that. And that then got changed. Even these are still, I think, these still feel like conservative numbers. We got that switched to summertime, $100,000. That is to say, after the halving, 3 or so months after, Bitcoin's price 70, 75, 80,000, something like that, swinging on up to $100,000. There are still, I think it's Samson Mao and the other guy from Blockstream who think that we are going to be at 100,000 by the actual halving. We got a couple of weeks left. Let's see exactly where we end up going. They've changed their price prediction for this year to exactly where every other company now says they're expecting by the end of 2024 to have a Bitcoin price of $150,000. This would then mean by summer, July, August, we would have $100,000 Bitcoin and then move up to $150,000 logically. The $100,000 Bitcoin price, a lot of people think that is going to be a dramatically difficult price barrier for a lot of people to actually get over because it finally puts Bitcoin into the six-figure space. Apparently, so says legend, the next two numbers that we really are going to have a difficult time getting to, or like to really have to smash through the numbers, are 100,000 and 1 million. Apparently everything else in the middle is just kind of like a different number that people really don't care about, which is absolutely insane to think that we're going to get to like a $400,000 Bitcoin and people go, still not a million, like that kind of thing. They're estimating that it's going to be a $150,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. This also then correlates to the other price predictions that we were getting for Ethereum. A lot of people believe, so two scenarios. We either are going to hit an $8,000 Ethereum by the end of this year, and or if we end up getting Ethereum ETFs, as they're still being applied for. They're taking their time with the SEC. We should have final answers around May. I think mid-May is when the SEC is going to have to answer, but also BlackRock is one of the applicants, and people assume that BlackRock isn't going to get rejected because they're BlackRock. That then puts us to a $12,000 to $15,000 Ether by the end of this year as well. In conservative but still insane, according to their report, the bank is expecting Bitcoin in 2025, and I say this lightly, to only hit $250,000, which is normally how it doesn't work, in that Bitcoin's price tends, except for the 2020-2021 bull run, you all remember what happened. Everyone was terrified inside the market. We've seen before that Bitcoin tends to normally do a 10 to 20x. That would put us over $1 million Bitcoin. Got to bring it back and cool it a tiny bit. They're expecting a $250,000 Bitcoin at the top of the cycle, which puts them just lightly behind all the other companies who we've been hearing from before. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, a lot of analysts are swinging. The pendulum has now been moved lightly back with the $250,000, which I think is a far more conservative number, to anywhere from $250,000 per Bitcoin to we're not going to talk about the 600 one. The highest other level of that was 377,000. That was said by another company around 5 or 6 days ago. Where they meet in the middle, logically, is around 300K, which is where we're hearing a lot of numbers from Kathy Wood and Mike Novogratz and all these other people now who are talking about they're expecting a $300,000 Bitcoin by the end of the bull cycle, which is also now expected to be roughly around 500 days. These are all, of course, guesstimates. No one really knows exactly where things are going, but a lot of the numbers, especially the bank, interestingly, the camera just did that shut off thing again. Interestingly enough, the bank is just, which is why I said it's very conservative, the bank is just using numbers based off of the performance of the Bitcoin ETFs. Just. So I think while this has made a huge portion of the news over the course of the last couple months, it is literally not the only news that's actually out there. So I think a lot of people have kind of slimmed down what they think Bitcoin is going to do just to the idea of the United States exchange traded funds for Bitcoin, forgetting that there are other ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum around the world. You can look it up. We've gone over that before, who are also accumulating massive amounts of Bitcoin. The difference is that these ETFs are maybe accumulating 1,500, 4,000 Bitcoin at a time, and it's not anywhere near the 300 plus thousand that Fidelity and BlackRock have. So the 300,000 plus makes it to the news, but not the 4,000. 4,000 is still an incredible amount of Bitcoin when there's barely a lot of it actually left. It's not accounting for MicroStrategy. It's not accounting for the new people who get into the market every time that there's a bull run. It's not accounting for the people who are going to be throwing as much money as possible at the market when we go over $100,000. It's always the same exact thing. There's always a hyper loop of people who are rushing into the market as well. It's not counting all the other people who've already been in the market who have perpetual buying orders. It's not accounting for the fact that we've heard at the beginning of this year from the same exact people who were correct the other years that we're allegedly going to be hearing from around 3 countries this year who are going to be adopting Bitcoin in some sort of way, whether it be with Bitcoin bonds or Bitcoin for their national treasury and all this other stuff. We also had news at the beginning of this year, I think it was this year, pretty sure it was this year, that apparently there's a UAE country who is now gobbling up massive amounts of Bitcoin exclusively for themselves. And this was said by someone who told us years ago that there were going to be 3 countries who also were going to adopt Bitcoin, and he was completely correct. So the really weird part is that they're showing us or talking about a $250,000 Bitcoin in 2025 if the ETFs exclusively continue to accumulate the way that they have. Crazy, right? Like, it just, there's so many discussions as to where exactly we're going to go. And I understand that the letters ETF might be magical, but it's also like there's so many other things happening within the market as well. So I can't really even begin to understand or believe where we're actually going to be in price if everyone's just focusing on the ETF accumulation and not the accumulation of 100 million other people who've been in this market before. Crazy, right? Yeah. So they're called Standard Chartered. They believe it's going to be $150,000 Bitcoin this year and $250,000 in 2025 at the peak if the ETFs continue their level of accumulation. Yeah. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.